Hello world, I'm Chris Pirillo, and you've tuned into another live edition of the Locker Gnome Daily Report, or TLDR for short. I do this live every weekday on this fine YouTube channel. It's really the only one that I'm updating on a regular basis. Thank you for watching everything and sharing and liking everything that you see that we produce. I'm going to get to the tech stuff later, as I do every single weekday with TLDR. That is primarily reserved for my patrons. These are some of them, courtesy of chrispirillo.com. If you want all of TLDR, about an hour's worth of Chris Pirillo every weekday, head over to chrispirillo.com to sign up right now. Today, I'm going to talk about something that I haven't talked about in at least a couple of days, and that is Star Wars, specifically The Force Awakens. I did a whole series of, I guess, smaller videos around The Force Awakens, and I definitely want to do more, if only being spurred on by someone who owns a toy company, or at least a company that distributes toys. He was asking me what I thought about Rey's lineage, and I don't think I've done a video with my thoughts, covering my thoughts about who Rey is. You know, what's her family line? I've got a few ideas, but I haven't quite fleshed them out as fully as I might have with today's topic, Lor San Tekka. Now, if you're not familiar with Lor San Tekka, let me go ahead and pull up the canon. Now, that doesn't look like a canon. It's a big book. It's the Star Wars The Force Awakens Visual Dictionary. You need to get this. If you saw the movie, you need to get this. That's Lor San Tekka. You saw him at the beginning of the movie, right there. And there are three ways that I believe that Lor San Tekka, this is the guy that we're referring to, is significant. One, and probably the biggest reason he's significant, is that he shows clearly that to understand the Force, you don't need to be a Jedi or a Sith. Now, this was reinforced later on by Maz Kanata, which, by the way, they announced in conjunction with the Toy Fair, this new Toy Fair, which hasn't happened yet. It's starting soon in, I think the New York area. I'm not going. They're going to be making a Maz Kanata figure. It seems like it's going to be a part of a set, the 3 3/4 inch version, my favorite scale. Anyway, you don't need to be a Jedi or a Sith to know that the Force is there and potentially being able to wield it in some way, shape, or form. We've been given no indication that Lor San Tekka can command the Force. It's just that he leads the Church of the Force. Right here it says, though San Tekka is not Force sensitive, he has witnessed its power firsthand during the dark times of Emperor Palpatine's rule. San Tekka was a follower of the Church of the Force. There's a church. Probably the only church I would ever want to go to, honestly. Because let's face it, it would have been a hell of a lot more exciting to go to that church growing up than the church that I went to. So, and a lot more fun, too. You know, imagine if they gave you a new Star Wars figure at the end of every ceremony. That would be... Whoa! So, it's a big deal. That the fact that he is not Force sensitive, but understands the Force exists, and that he understands that it moves throughout the universe, and ultimately good will win. So that's one reason why Lor San Tekka's presence is significant. Another reason it's significant is because it opens up a completely different type of story. Up until this point with the Star Wars films, it was pretty much, it's all Skywalker, and I'll get to that point in a second. At least the idea that the Star Wars movies in the episodes 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6 in those trilogies, it was about following the Skywalker clan, and we only really saw in the original trilogy Luke Skywalker being the primary Jedi. I mean, beyond Obi-Wan Kenobi, beyond Yoda, the one that was just kind of pushing things forward. But now we've kind of opened up a different type of Star Wars story. The Church of the Force. What is that? I mean, who are these believers? What do they do? What is their backstory? These are people who support, obviously, the Jedi and believing that good will triumph over evil, but there needs to be balance. It's interesting, and I don't think we've ever seen that kind of aspect, that deeper aspect of these Gnostics, if you will, and really that's their role here as Gnostics, seemingly, or Lor San Tekka being a chief Gnostic, someone who has knowledge of the Force. And this Church of the Force idea, or the idea that Lor San Tekka exists, I think, gives birth to a different way of looking at the Force, a different way of looking at Jedi and Sith, and opens up a completely different type of story to be told in the Star Wars galaxy, which is exciting. It's a different way of experiencing that world, much like you might expect, would happen in a comic book or in a TV series. Oh, speaking of TV series, they just also announced today, Disney announced a new Lego Star Wars series spinning up on Disney XD soon, with characters we've never heard of, at all, like completely new, completely different. It's Lego stuff, so it's not quite canon, not quite Lor San Tekka. So the third reason I believe it's significant does tie into the Skywalker family. So Lor San Tekka, this guy's a big deal. He's got to be a big deal. Why? He's got the map. He's got the remainder of the map. He's got the thing that they're all chasing, right? In The Force Awakens. That's it. Why does he have it? There's a reason he has it. Did Luke trust him? Did he get it some other way? We don't know. But that's significant. The fact that he's got that piece, it's huge. Plus, he obviously, and I'm not going to say that his presence is nefarious, and I don't think his character is a bad person at all, but he's got it. So Luke must have trusted him at some point, and obviously he knows of Leia, and they made the connection and communicating back and forth, and he even knows a bit about Ben's backstory. So Lor San Tekka is a character that I would fully expect to be fleshed out, if not in a TV series, and I don't know if I would expect Lor San Tekka to be, part of a TV series, but certainly in a comic arc, or possibly even in a dedicated novel. And to me, that the character, Lor San Tekka, would be significant enough to deserve his own story, or series of stories. I can imagine that we have not seen the last of Lor San Tekka. That is, if anything, the reason why he's significant. So maybe you have a different perspective. Maybe you haven't thought about Lor San Tekka at all. I have. This is all I think about. It surrounds me, it penetrates me, it binds me to you. Pick up this book. I talked about it when I first got it. It is awesome. It is an amazing reference point for all things The Force. Well, most things. Maybe not all things. The Force Awakens. I do need to move on to this today. I almost said this week's. It is this week's Pops or Pop Vinyl Haul, but I do a Perillo Picks every weekday. Today happens to be the weekly Pop Vinyl Haul, and I'm going to roll into that right now live on YouTube. You'll see that video separately if you're not watching live. And then I'm going to be answering questions from the community. Mostly tech questions seem to float in, although sometimes Star Wars questions as well. And then after that, I'll be talking about today's news, beyond the news I've already covered in this topic. Any other thoughts about Lor San Tekka? Let me know in a comment. If there's not yet a question that I've addressed, or 3 reasons, 3 things, 3 ideas in Star Wars, let me know. I'm also thinking, I'll throw this out there. Someone suggested I should do reviews of the movies that have already been produced beyond The Force Awakens, because a lot of people have enjoyed my The Force Awakens review. So what do you think? Should I re-review or truly review the Star Wars movies as they exist? I'd be happy to do it if enough people want me to. Happy to keep talking about this pretty much every single day. So it's time for this week's Pop Vinyl Haul. Today's free podcast highlight was brought to you by all of my active patrons from ChrisPerillo.com. If you want access to the full TLDR episodes, both audio, video, past, present, and future, which can be up to an hour long or longer, with even more tech insight from me every weekday, plus other bonus content without ads, and support me at the same time, you can sign up to become one of my supernomies too. This is just a brief taste of what I'm producing for you daily. Again, get more through ChrisPerillo.com.